My name is Ola Kunbi Tamari, Creative Director of April by Kunbi, and this is Dang Masterclass. I think branding is very important. I'm just going to give a brief example. There's some things I can't pronounce, some brand names I can't pronounce. So it's hard for me to pass on that brand to someone else. There are some French, like someone that would name their brand a French name that I cannot pronounce. A lot of people can pronounce. Maybe eventually when people start hearing about it, they can pronounce it. But when you hear it, you can't pronounce it. So how are you going to tell someone when you don't want to embarrass yourself about pronouncing something? That's just one of it has to be something catchy. It has to be something memorable. And definitely it should be something that also means something to you because it's a part of you at the end of the day. But I think when you're trying to create a brand, you should be aware of the people around you, people that you're trying to sell the thing to. They should be able to pronounce at least the name of your brand. They shouldn't have to, even if it has a deeper meaning, even if it's something that has a deeper meaning, they should still be able to pronounce it because that's the if you're telling people about the brand or other people are telling people the word of mouth aspect, if they can't pronounce it, they're not going to talk about your brand. They will start describing, oh, you remember that brand that they when they can't say your name. So I think that's very important that it should be something memorable. It should be something that people can relate to and pronounce. I didn't start off trying to be a bridal designer at all. It's also something that I kind of fell into. However, falling into it doesn't mean that I should relax. I still I always try to learn. I always try to develop my skills. Now that I'm doing a lot of bridal wears, I always look for books, articles, classes online that help me to develop skills that I'm trying to get better with. Um, but I think I don't know. Your my work. I don't want to sound like I'm being arrogant, but your work will tend to speak for you when you put a lot of effort into making sure. When I started wedding dresses, I had a lot of issues, with lace, cutting, breaking needles, just so many little things that I did not envision happening. Maybe they cut the lace and is falling now, and then I went online and said, oh, you can actually break the beading with hammer before you sew it, because before we'll just cut it and then when the person wears the dress, the beads will start falling off, and then I went online and I was like, oh, how can I do this that this bead? I don't want to start tacking every bead back after they sew it, and then they say, okay, you can actually break it with a hammer or break it with a board to break the beading so that the thread is still there, but you're sewing, so just those little things that I also had to learn to make make my design stand out, make my finishing, better. Let it be, like any dress you see anywhere in the world. And I think that has helped me. I've kind of created a niche for myself because people can see that I'm trying to be like any other dress they will buy anywhere else in the world. I'm any other big designer in the world. April by Kunbi in three words: be fit, functionality, and feminine. Fashion industry is so broad. Like there are people that don't know how, they don't even want to be fashion designers. I have people that I went to school with that they don't want to be fashion, they don't want to even see any tailors. They just want to design and sell their design. There's so many broad aspects. So if you cannot manage people, you cannot manage tailors, you cannot manage, there are a lot of people that design for like Zara and all those people. They pay them to design. They don't want to own their own company because of the stress that comes with it. So fashion designing is very broad. There are people that design fabric. That if you're doing it just because you think someone else is making money or someone else is doing this with it, it might not work the same way for you. So I would like to know if you have any questions for me. I would love to answer it to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. I think like the major problem I have is fittings. I like when I hear designers say, "Oh, I sent I okay, I think you said you wrote you you posted a bridal story about a bride you had to bead one inscription on her back, yeah, and I think you sent it, and she didn't have to do any fitting, and it fits perfectly. Like it happens sometimes, but I think I'd like it to happen like 70 to 80% of the time. Yeah, so like it's crazy that I take measurements and walk, and after walking something doesn't fit right here. Yes, yes, and something probably doesn't fit right here, or maybe this place is a little too loose, or something happens along the line, or I just really want to know how you get.
That's a very good question. I used to have. That's the truth is, nobody will tell you they didn't have problem with fitting, except they're magicians. Even when you go to bespoke tailoring outside the country, they call you when you're doing bespoke. There are things that your body changes, your fabric changes, like maybe the fabric, the structure of the fabric. You see that they put them on the stand and they start to put pins because they want it to look like it was made for you. So don't beat yourself up that it doesn't fit perfectly. Sometimes it's nice, no fitting, we are lucky, but the process of bespoke is because you want it to fit like a glove, which is why people need to come in for fitting so that you can, they'll say, "Ah, it looks like they sewed it on a body." That's because they actually, they're pinning and everything. However, what I do, most of the time when I have like international client, number one, I have a chat that they have to take specifically to that measurement. Like I was telling you, some people don't know where their natural waistline is. They will take where the belly button is, which is not where the natural waist is. So I always ask for specific measurements. And for example, some people will send me measurements, and I'll be like, "How can your bust be 38 and your waist is 37? Something is not right somewhere." And then you find out that they took the measurement of the waist in the wrong place, or um, if you're taking measurements of someone abroad is sending you measurement, most of them go to like laundry stores, and it's usually Asian people there. Asian people always add to measurements. So they will send it to me, and I'll be like, this thing just looks. That's why you also have to be aware of what measurements look right, except when the person is pregnant or something. So I look at it and I'm like, this something doesn't seem right here. Can you do this measurement? Can you do this measurement again? And then okay, so like, but you took measurements yourself, and they come in for fitting, and it still needs adjustments. It happens. That's the truth. If you're using something stretchy, for example, if you're using a stretchy material, you always have to take at least half an inch out of all your measurement because it will stretch. If you using a stretchy fabric, and in the process of sewing and everything, and maybe the person's hips is 40 and you do 40, it will definitely be bigger because you don't need room for something that is stretchy. You only need room for things that are not stretchy. Um, with pattern with fitting perfectly, another thing I do is whatever measurement they send to me, hopefully it's the right measurement. I always take the measurement again to make sure the proportions are right. Another thing that will help you, if you can't get a mannequin, is to get a life model, because all these dresses you're seeing that are fitting perfectly on people, they've done it on mannequins, they've done them on dress forms to make sure, okay, this is where this strap starts from. You can't really, it's not something you can really just do flat pattern. If you have a mannequin and you wear the dress on a mannequin and the strap is too big, you can see it on the mannequin. Most mannequin are made into human measurements. So you can say, okay, this is dropping on this mannequin, let me hold it. Okay, a human's body is softer, so you can accommodate it, and then maybe you don't make it as tight. So just things like that. But always remeasure. Once you finish constructing the outfit, always do the measurement again. I always do the measurements again before sending anywhere, just so that you're not, the time you waste from actually doing another dress or doing alterations, you can save it by doing all the measurement. But I've heard that flat pattern works. I'm also learning and trying to work with flat patterns, where I've done all the patterns and I'm just cutting according to that pattern. I've heard that it gives you more accurate fittings and accurate measurements more than just freehand cutting.
Please, can you explain more about the flat pattern?
Flat pattern is basically you're using paper to cut. So you've put all the person's measurements on the paper, the markings and everything. And because it's on paper, you can already tell, okay, this thing is looks too wide on the paper, or this dart is in the wrong, you can tell all those things from the paper. But if you don't know how to read all the like little measurement, because with flat pattern, you see when we take measurement, somebody's bust to be 13 and a quarter. But because we don't want to put 13 and a quarter, you put 13, stuff like that. With flat pattern, you will put that 13 and a quarter because you're using ruler for you're using a ruler for everything. So every measurement will be exactly, if it's in between the half, I was in between half is three quarter. Like, every little measurement counts when you're doing flat pattern, and you can transfer that. But when you're doing it on freehand cutting, it's not, you always say, okay, let me just round it up, let me just round it up. You either round it up to the next one, or you round up to the one before it. So you will have a bit of, you miss a bit of points from there. But with flat pattern, it's always exactly, because if it's 3.222, that's what you're going to put on the paper, and that's what you're going to cut and transfer to your fabric.
Do you pattern cut or you freehand cut those?
I freehand. I freehand because I can fit. When you don't have the luxury of having to fit all the time, then it's better for you to do pattern cutting. If you want to do like ready to wear dresses, for example, and you're doing 10 of it, you shouldn't be doing freehand. You should have a pattern, so that another day when someone says, oh my God, I really like that blouse, you can put your pattern on any fabric and cut it. So if you're doing ready to wear, I think you should always have patterns. Once you've done a pattern and you fitted it. So one of the things I learned in school is that when you do a pattern and you fit it, if it doesn't, whatever fitting you take, you use it, you do tailor the muslin, and you mark all the adjustments you took. You're going to transfer it back on pattern. That will be your basic sloper that you're going to use to, you can now manipulate any design from that pattern. Because for people that are doing ready to wear, for you to be cutting freehand on 10 pieces is ridiculous. And then if it's a good seller piece, and then someone wants to use another, and you have a different tailor, are you going to now, are you going to now change? But with your pattern, you can get any tailor. If the tailor decides not to come to work today, you get another tailor and tell them, cut this pattern. The pattern will already have all the markings of where the seams go to, where the darts go to, and stuff like that.